Cool. So, welcome back to the series. The next question is the most interesting one. Is Web3 a scam? Get that a lot. So, some projects, maybe Web3 in general, I don't really think so. Remember that Web3 is an ideology of building the existing digital applications in a certain way, and like these applications can be open, public, decentralized, and immutable, which means it's an industry based on blockchains, which is a very recent and emerging technology. The industry is very nascent. Like Bitcoin came into being in 2008, then Ethereum came into being in 2015, and then people have started to experiment with different kind of use cases. So every project is sort of an experiment, and with experiment this is given that things may or may not work out as intended, but there are certain projects that are by default designed to fail, and they already have bad intentions from the beginning, or sometimes the intentions were right in the beginning, and over a course of time some bad decisions were taken because of some reason, and eventually you end up having bad consequences. But there are some projects that actually do end up doing something, but again, it's very nascent, so the utility is yet to be proven, and most of the project lie in that spectrum of utility, that the utility is either yet to be proven, or the project has achieved some very early form of product market fit. So there's this project called Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange, and that is like a sufficiently proven project right now that uh, it's taking the centralized exchanges head on. Other than that, there are some other projects, but if you recall from the previous video, all of these verticals like DAI or decentralized science, these are comparatively very nascent. So you don't know, the project can be a scam or it can be an experiment, simple experiment, where you either end up discovering that this wasn't the right way to do things, or you can end up discovering that okay, this might be the right way to do things, but we need to work on it a little bit more. So yeah, long story short, everything is mostly an experiment right now, and some projects could be scam. So generally there's this trend with emerging technology of Gartner's hype cycle. It's that when a technology comes into being, there's an innovation trigger, and suddenly a lot of people have an inflated sense of expectations from that technology, because of which hype is created, and when hype is created it's bound to go down. So there's a peak of hype, and then there's a trough of disillusionment, and from there people who actually understand the technology keep on working on it, keep on making it more sophisticated, and that's when technology slowly and steadily transitions into mainstream use cases and adoptions. So this is a much more detailed version of Gartner's hype cycle. Feel free to pause and read through it. It's very interesting thing. You'll find that happening in multiple different industries, like AI or blockchains or maybe quantum computing or drones or mixed reality. So any kind of technology, any kind of industry based on emerging technology generally follows this trend. So one more thing that you should understand is why scams happen in these industries. So hype generally develops faster than the underlying technology. Hype grows exponentially while the underlying technology develops in a linear fashion. So with blockchain, you get a digital infra that is specifically designed for assets. This digital infra is global, this is public, and this is 24/7 online. So you sort of get the dynamics of capitalism on steroids. It's like you think about trading, uh, trading securities or stocks. Different countries have different national exchanges, and they have a particular time window from which they are open. So if something happens in the US market, it will take some time to get reflected in the Hong Kong market, because the operations of timing is different. But with Web3, everything is global, public, and 24/7 online. So you get all sort of those dynamics on kind of on steroids, and it's also a nascent industry which is mostly unregulated. So this is bound to be a recipe for disaster if someone wants to do something. So technology usually by itself doesn't do any good or evil. It's what people choose to do with the technology. So it ultimately boils down to the intention with which a particular technology is being used. A lot of people use social media to do good, and a lot of people use social media to do bad. So there's a difference between a failed experiment and a project that was by default designed to fail so that it can benefit a certain number of individuals by taking money from a certain other number of individuals. So it's important to understand that distinction when you think about scams in blockchain. The general long term perspective I have is that substance always overpowers hype. Substance is something that is useful and that makes sense. Like if you can actually understand what the project is trying to do, what is the problem that the project is trying to solve, you can see where there's substance in that project or not. So generally there's substance in very few projects, but yeah, most of the projects are experiments, and some some are designed to fail, or and other are just like learnings along the way. So hype usually, the projects that are driven by hype usually are small hiccups, and they in most cases they don't make much sense. So what ultimately matters prevails. The substance prevails. Some project that actually tries to solve an actual problem, that prevails, and the net result you get is growth. Like I have some reference points here. Like this is a graph of the general market, and it is drawn over a very long period of time. So you can see that market did crash because of some geopolitical events or something or the other, but eventually it recovered and it grew. At the end, in the longer perspective, the market grew. The net result is growth. Similarly, with Bitcoin, a lot of things happened. Like earlier, Bitcoin was used for illegitimate purposes, and there was a very negative narrative associated with it. But it has been steadily growing in one way or the other. Like regulations are easing up, more people are actually understanding the value of the network. There's some institutional adoption going in. It's not completely out there, but yeah, it's on its way. So you can see that growth in the price of Bitcoin over a period of time. Like bitcoin was Bitcoin was created and deployed in 2008. We are sitting into 2025. It's been 17 years, and the entire Bitcoin life cycle has seen like 4 or 5 bull and bear cycles. So that is a net growth in the long term perspective. And if you look at the general cryptocurrency market uh, in total, you'll see that the market share of Bitcoin has been decreasing rapidly. So there are more and more cryptocurrencies that are being valued more, and the overall share of Bitcoin in the cryptocurrency market is decreasing because these other projects are being more valued. So there's a net expansion in different kind of projects trying to solve different kind of problems. In the DeFi sector, this is a screenshot from a dashboard called DeFi Llama. In the DeFi sector, you can see a net growth in be it in RWAs, be it in stable coins, or be it in overall money locked in these DeFi protocols. So again, in the long term perspective, you will see a net growth. Even in the development side, more and more developers are joining the ecosystem in a longer perspective. More developers means the projects can focus on solving more problems in a single go, and the ecosystem would grow exponentially in a way. So yeah, that is also a long term growth. So whenever you think about whether Web3 is a scam or not, just keep that in mind, that it's a very nascent field. There are some well-intentioned projects that are actually trying to solve some problems, and then there could be some ill-intentioned projects. So do your own research and try to understand what is what. General disclaimer is that avoid scammers in the comment section. Drop your questions or suggest a topic, and do actually take out time to think about all of this and let it sink in. I'll see you in the next one.